but these are penstocks. But how penstocks also create catchment degradation, because they divide the forest into two. And usually for arboreal biodiversity or for seed dispersal, if you look at it ecologically, this is very destructive, because the catchment gets permanently divided into two. And many a time what happens is many of the arboreal biodiversity or the arboreal wildlife like the line-tailed macaques or Nilgiri langoors or the Malabar giant squirrels, they get trapped in these catchments. The same thing happens for reservoirs, because reservoirs, when you have islands inside the reservoirs, many of the times the wildlife get trapped there. So this and unless only when the water goes down, they are able to migrate, do local migration from these reservoir islands. And this is the Kallada River, one important river in the southern Kerala, and in which a dam was built since 1961. We have these in many of Kerala rivers, the dam building is a business. Not only in Kerala, all over India, dam building is a business. The Kallada project started in 1961. It's even older than me, and it was completed only last year. It was partially commissioned last year. And because the government could not spend more, the cost escalation was 264% times, then it was started. So, but now the Kallada River operates like this. During the daytime, there's no flow in the river because the dam is operating, and during the night time, you have a flood. Because daily flow fluctuation is a commonplace in Kallada River. This is a commonplace in many of the dammed rivers. Now, this is water which looks like the tea which we drank, and which is all brown with all the topsoil that is carried. Because I told you earlier, in the Western Ghats, the very important matter, the aspect which we have to differentiate from the Himalayan rivers or the Deccan rivers is that here we don't have much topsoil. And whatever topsoil is there, it is held by the forests or by the vegetation. So when the vegetation is removed and the forest is removed, there is very heavy soil erosion. And this also impacts on the quality of the river, on the quality of the on the biodiversity, on the fish catch, and even the water gets the water gets turbid and which cannot be used unless you purify it. This is this is in Kabini Basin, which is considered one of the better river basins in the state. And another important, for example, can you imagine you are seeing a swamp here. In many of the Kerala Western Ghats rivers, these high altitude swamps are origins of the streams. These are the origins of streams which later contribute to the river flow. These are located at very high altitudes, above 8,000 meters, up to 2,000. If you take Iruvikulam National Park, which is the highest altitude area, about 2,000 meters above mean sea level, you have good swamps deep inside the valleys. Of course, these are inaccessible because it's a national park now. But these are origins of the small streams which later feed to the Periyar River. So these are all small swamps which contribute to the Kabini River. But now many of these swamps, this is one of the remaining ones, many of these swamps have been converted for banana plantations or coconut plantations or coffee. So what happens? The water retaining capacity of these swamps is lost. So these are very small interventions that are going on, and when you accumulate them, you see the cumulative impact. And of course, sand mining, and I've just already explained about it. Because earlier the sand mining used to take place in this manner, but gradually, in Kerala you have a very beautiful act that is called the Sand Mining Act, which was promulgated in 2001 because of the indiscriminate sand mining, and where you have to issue passes. Each panchayat has to issue passes by which you are restricted by the amount of sand you can take from the patch of Kadava or the patch of river stretch you have. But it's all violated, and each panchayat can issue so many Benami passes, and even each, you are supposed even to have boards at each Kadava. It's called Kadava, that is the guards. At each guard you are supposed to have boards where you are supposed to show that this much sand alone can be taken from this guard, and you are supposed to color the boats which are supposed to take the sand. You are supposed to give numbers. All these suppose so many things are there which none of them are happening. But lot of sand is being mined, as I said earlier. And this is encroachments. And this is one of the beautiful towns where I think almost every Indian aspires to go. That is Munnar, the best tourism attraction. But when we go there as a tourist, we don't see any of this. But this is the Munnar River, which is the tributary of Periyar, which would later become the tributary of Periyar. And half of the river is gone because it's encroached for tourism. Because of tourism is now the catchword in Kerala, because we have lost out on farming. We have lost out on so many fishing. We have lost out on so many things. But now, according to us, the most important income source is tourism. But how the tourism is destroying the ecology, destroying the rivers, and tourism also takes a lot of water. There is a small river in Kerala called the Meenachil River, which originates from Vagaman. There is in Idukki district. And the Meenachil River, immediately after December, it goes dry. And every year you have reports of jaundice from the drinking water in Meenachil River for two reasons. One is that in the upstream, you have a lot of tourism resorts which have small check dams and which store the water so the water doesn't flow down. Secondly, Meenachil River Basin is the biggest rubber growing area in the state, in the country also, if you can see. I mean, you have the largest rubber estates in the Meenachil River Basin, and all the effluents, because all the copper fungicides that are applied, the pesticides that are applied, and all the latex, after the latex collection, all the acid comes down to this river, the river gets polluted, and you have reports of jaundice. So you take from the river and you also give back to the river, and what you get is diseases in return. And let me tell you now, in Kerala, every monsoon, you have the highest number of reports of waterborne diseases. Why? Especially because, as I was trying, if you link up all these reasons, you can find that most of the rivers carry pollution and do not carry fresh water. So all this adds to, so all this pollution load comes down to the backwater and the plains, especially in the panchayats and in the districts which are surrounding the Vemarad area, that is the Thrissur, Ernakulam, Alleppey districts. These are the three districts which always report very high level of waterborne diseases, and there is a direct correlation, also Kottayam. And this is of course the famous holy place, that is the Pamba river, where this is just downstream of the Shabarimala pilgrimage site. 2 years back I had gone here as part of an independent expert team to just see the amount of pollution that is being caused by Pamba. And this is another sort of pollution which we would never imagine, because crores of pilgrims go there, and this is one of the rituals. You leave all your the clothes inside the river and you come back. And this becomes a business, and this not only clogs the river, it clogs the river. And it becomes a business when there are people who are hired to remove this, sell it, it comes back to you again. So beware when you buy something, when you are on the way to Pamba, if you want to buy those black mundu, please don't buy it from Kottayam or on those areas, because all these are coming reuse. I mean, but what I'm trying to say is the pollution that it creates is severe, and it is a stream. This stream is called as the Nyunangar, which is one of the small tributaries of the Pamba. This Nyunangar stream comes from the Sannidhanam. Sannidhanam, as you say it, this is the place where the Lord Ayyappa is supposed to be there. I don't believe that he is there now, because I'm sure because of all this he has left the abode. But then he's supposed to be there, and that stream originates from this shrine, the holy shrine. It flows just behind the holy shrine, and the amount of fecal matter, the amount of filth and all that is the waste that and sewage from the shrine area that is carries down. And this is all the independent expert team carrying out. What we found was the amount of nickel, the amount of cadmium, the amount of fecal matter. It is 6-7 feet inside and there are absolutely no life in that stream, no life.